When people mention term limits to me, I usually tell them the only politicians' terms I would like to limit are the ones they use when speaking. They have an annoying language of their own. And I understand it's necessary for them to speak this way, because I know how important it is that as they speak, they not inadvertently say something. And according to the politicians themselves, they don't say things. They indicate them. As I indicated yesterday, and as I indicated to the President. And when they're not indicating, they're suggesting. The President has suggested to me that as I indicated yesterday, sometimes instead of indicating or suggesting, they're outlining or pointing things out. The President outlined his plan to me, and in doing so, he pointed out that he has not yet determined his position. Politicians don't decide things, they determine them. Or they make judgments. That's more serious. When the hearings conclude, I will make a judgment. Or I may simply give you my assessment. I don't know. I haven't determined that yet. But when I do, I will advise the President. They don't tell, they advise. They don't answer, they respond. They don't read, they review. They don't form opinions, they determine positions. And they don't give advice, they make recommendations. I advise the President that I will not make a judgment until he has given me his assessment. Thus far, he hasn't responded. Once he responds to my initiative, I will review his response, determine my position, and make my recommendations. And so it is at long last that after each has responded to the other's initiatives, and after they have reviewed their responses, made their judgments, determined their positions, and offered their recommendations, they begin to approach the terrifying possibility that now they may actually be required to do something. Of course, that would be far too simple, so rather than doing something, they address the problem. We're addressing the problem, and we will soon proceed to take action. Those are big activities in Washington, proceeding and taking action. But you may have noticed that as they proceed, they don't always take action. Sometimes they simply move forward. Moving forward is another one of their big activities. We're moving forward with respect to Social Security. With respect to is lawyer talk. Makes things sound more important, complicated. So they're not moving forward on Social Security. They're moving forward with respect to Social Security. But at least they're moving forward. To help visualize this forward motion, you may wish to picture the blistering pace of the land tortoise. Now, sometimes when they themselves are not moving forward, they're moving something else forward, namely the process. We're moving the process forward so we can implement the provisions of the initiative. Implement means put into effect, and an initiative is similar to a proposal. It's not quite a measure yet, but there's a possibility it may become a resolution. Now, one might ask, why do we need all these initiatives, proposals, measures, and resolutions? Well, folks, it should be obvious by now. We need them in order to meet today's challenges. As I'm sure you've noticed, our country no longer has problems. Instead, we face challenges. We're always facing challenges. That's why we need people who can make the tough decisions. Tough decisions like, how much money can I raise in exchange for my integrity so I can be reelected and continue to work in government? Of course, no self-respecting politician would ever admit to working in government. They prefer to think of themselves as serving the nation. This is one of the more grotesque distortions to come out of Washington. They say, I'm serving the nation, and they characterize their work as public service. To help visualize this service they provide, you may wish to picture the activities that take place on a stud farm.
Thank you.